a Meet Your Council Member reading for The Mask You Wear. Okay, so I do have a guide coming up, and this does feel like a master guide. But the first thing coming in actually has more to do with some of the things that came up during our last session a while back, because it feels like you're still kind of struggling with how you're going to do what you want, or if you can do it. There's almost a feeling like if you can do it, or if you can let go of this other thing, if you can let go of it completely. There's a feeling like that. And this feeling like if you can, like, can I actually do the thing that I would really want, that I would really resonate with, and that my soul would really resonate with. But there's almost a feeling of like soul's purpose, because the feeling I'm getting from your guides is that part of your soul's purpose, before it can really move on to something else, part of your soul's purpose is defeating these old patterns that you came in here with due to these other lifetimes where where you achieved, they're saying like you achieved certain things but only a limited amount of success um, in your chosen area, because it wasn't really your area, is what they're saying. And so there's always going to be a limit on okay. Okay, so that was coming in at the beginning, but it wasn't coming in strongly enough for me to know for sure, for me to realize that they wanted to actually change the code name. But they're not saying the mask you wear, they're saying the mask you choose. So they're saying that this is something that you've chosen, just like you've chosen to put it on, you can choose to take it off. It is a choice. They're showing me they're showing me Morpheus in the Matrix. When he holds up the blue pill, or he holds up the red pill. And I don't remember which pill you're supposed to take. Haven't seen that movie in a while. but but you know what he's getting at. You can choose a programmed experience and to remain doing the things that you are comfortable with and that you've been conditioned by society and parents, um, and that you've been taught to do and continue doing, right? And that you've also been taught, even by those same parents in other lifetimes, to have that pattern. Now, not only those parents, other souls also that came in with you, and that you came in with, or that you came through, and even other family members in this lifetime and in those, who, especially like older family members, but not just a dad or a mom, like an aunt or an uncle, other relations like that. Yeah, and they're sending me this feeling almost like it's almost like older people, physically older people are supposed to, um, in our society, we're taught that they know more what to do, because we don't think about past incarnations. We just think about this physical body here now, this vessel, and it doesn't really go beyond that. We don't think about the before or the after, or if we do, we don't really think about a future incarnation after. We just think about being in heaven and we're just stuck in one place, basically. We might be stuck in like a paradise, but we're still stuck there. It's not like, you can leave it and go have some other incarnation. You're just stuck there in heaven having fun or whatever it is, you know, wherever different various people believe that they go. But you get their point. So there's no thought of moving forward into a future lifetime. And yeah, they're saying that people tend to dwell here in this present lifetime and they don't think about like past achievements or past blocks from other lifetimes that occurred. But they're saying that the root of a person's blocks tend to go back to lifetimes before, most likely. So it's very important to look at those things and to choose to overcome them. Otherwise, they're saying almost forget thinking about like a future self. Um, or they're saying or even a past self. Oh, okay. They're saying otherwise forget thinking about a future self or even a past self because there's no difference. The future self is the same as the past self, so how can it guide you? So basically they're saying that you have to get through these blocks so that you create a future where you don't have them. They're saying otherwise there's no point in meeting a future self or in having one. Regarding your question. So they don't really want to answer this question. They will come forward. Wait. I think one of them might come forward and say a little bit about who they are, perhaps, but they aren't your future self. Okay, so this is the council member. Okay. Okay. So he's basically saying, this is a, a council member guide reading. So here he is. And he's not your future self. And he's saying that you're not going to meet your future self for a while. It's something that you have to step into. And he's saying that you need to know that you're changing the future. There isn't a crutch of, well, not that you're wanting that or asking for that. He's not saying that, but he is simply stating that there isn't this crutch of like if they told you that you do have this guy who is your future self and he's done all these things, then it's like even if you don't do them now, hey, you're going to end up doing them ultimately. But he's saying not necessarily. He's saying that you change the future now. He's saying how do you know that he's saying it's like you have this big opportunity to get through these blocks and they're in your face. You're having all these dreams, this series of dreams where you have these recalls, these memories coming through, and it's so obvious that it's like this is the time, this is the lifetime, where this is sort of all coming together, you know? So they're basically saying, what if you don't complete it in this lifetime? Do you think you'll get that chance again? Or how soon do you think you'll get that chance again? Because he's saying, because it works like that. You, he's saying it's like you develop to the point that you have psychic abilities, or you just have openings or opportunities in your growth state, and maybe it has to do with what you've even contracted with beforehand, and things that you've purposefully come into a lifetime with, um, in order to have the capability to get through certain blocks that you have um, acquired in other lifetimes. So he's saying, so you have the tools necessary in this lifetime. And he's saying that part of the block is seeming like you don't. Part of the block is that it seems to you like you don't. He's not talking about other people, although they can try to program you and condition you to be a certain way and think a certain way and feel a certain way about who you are and what you're meant to do here, or how you can live here and how you can't live here. But still, he's not referring to them. Is he saying they're not the block? He's saying, like, if the block is a person, then he's saying you're the block. But obviously the block isn't a person, but he's saying if there's a cause, it's within you. It's not within them. And he's saying that it might seem like they push you around, and even past tense, they did push you around, they pushed you around. And he's saying, and even in past lives. But he's saying that you have to remember that you did allow it. You did allow them to make you beneath them, to make you feel beneath them. So he's saying that there's a feeling within you. There's a feeling of you being beneath the opinions of others. But he's saying that that is only a feeling. That's just a feeling. A feeling can be overcome. It's only a feeling. It isn't real. It isn't reality. It isn't logical even, because this is your life. This is your life. So that's only a feeling. Sometimes feelings override logic, but not always. Sometimes logic overrides feeling. And ultimately, intuition overrides them all. But he's saying, but a feeling can trouble you. A feeling can convince you. A feeling can move you to do certain things. Yeah, he's saying that's why there's always a guilt. With parents, there's always a guilt. They don't just condition you with their thoughts, it's with their emotions. Because they felt guilty towards their parents. They were conditioned in the way of guilt. You are guilty if you do not please me in this way because I am your parent and you are beneath me. I brought you into the world. I am responsible for you. You are meant to listen to me. But he's saying, but that isn't the case. He's saying they're not responsible for you. They are responsible for assisting you with being here up to a certain point. They're responsible for protecting you. They're responsible for giving you shelter and other things that you need to have in order to sustain your form here. They're meant to give you certain sustenance mentally, emotionally, and spiritually as well, to better provide for you in those areas, so that then you can take the leadership role of your own life and you have the tools that are necessary. But they are not meant to override you. They are meant to allow you through. And they haven't done that, so you're going to have to do that yourself. And that's your task. This is actually a primary guide of yours right now. So what happens is when we tend to advance, a lot of times we'll have a master guide and he or she can step forward, and in some cases they do end up becoming like the primary guide for that time or in a certain area. But they're always the master guide. If they're assigned as the master guide, then they're always the master guide, but they tend to kind of pull in and then pull out a bit depending on what the person needs as far as their spiritual growth and like how far along they are, or almost he's saying in your case like how much drastic help they need. Like, do they need a little help, or do they need a lot of help? That's saying bring out the big guns. He's showing me like a cannon, or it looks like a cannon. He's saying bring out the big guns. So he says he's the big gun. Or one of them. He says the dreams he helped you with receiving them. He says he'll help you with talking to your dad too, and other family. But you need to trust that you can do it and that you are the higher authority. You are the higher power for your own life. And you have to trust in who you are. Yeah, he's saying that there's a lot of self-doubt. And conflicting feelings regarding stepping into like your true self and the true power of who you are. He's saying that's because you've been conditioned to feel like you are unworthy, like you are less than. Like he said earlier, like you are beneath. Okay. He's saying, and when we have been conditioned to feel that way, we don't feel like stepping into our power is an option. That's what we feel like. It isn't logical to feel that way, but that's what we feel like. Okay. He's giving me another saying. Grab the bull by the horns. Sometimes you just gotta grab the bull by the horns, he's saying. What's with all these like sayings and like these human terms? He's saying it's like not like Nike. You gotta just do it. You gotta grab the bull by the horns, you gotta be like Nike, you gotta just do it. And that's how it goes. And he's saying you've gotta pull out your own big guns. Okay, and he's reminding me, yeah, I didn't think of that, but when I was setting up the sacred space, I was playing root chakra music. And your root chakra is all about your foundation. And also, one thing that I actually noted was I have 4 crystals here. And I have my rose quartz here. Yeah, yeah, this all has to do with feelings. Feelings, 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 and heart. And he's saying that it can have to do with, it can almost seem like a weaker energy. Um, not weaker. He's not saying weaker, but he's saying more vulnerable, more relaxed, more open energy. He's saying, or even a feminine energy. He's saying not a weaker energy, a true feminine energy. It can represent that. He's saying, but if you're imbalanced, then it becomes a weaker energy. Then you become too vulnerable. He doesn't like this word weaker. Okay. Um, it's because he comes in with an energy and I'm interpreting the feeling of the energy. Okay, but he doesn't want me to use that term. Okay, vulnerable. And he's saying invulnerable is normally a good thing. And he still wants you to remain vulnerable. He still wants you to remain open. Okay, because you have to be able to receive things from your guides and you have to be who you are. And yourself is vulnerable and it is open. But he's saying, but in this area, with this particular thing, you have to put your foot down. You have to make boundary setting a priority, he's saying. Okay, because he's saying if you become too vulnerable and too open, and he's saying and too free, if you will, in that way, he's saying then it's dangerous. Then you'll negotiate the things that you want. You'll be so vulnerable to others' opinions and so open to chastisement from others and the feelings and beliefs and thoughts of others that are placed on you or that are placed over you, that you won't stand your ground. He's saying, so there has to be this balance. And he's saying, right now you're too open. He's saying, respectfully, you're too open. Meaning, I'm not feeling negatively about you. I'm not feeling negatively toward you. This isn't a judgment. So, respectfully, you are too open. You need to close yourself off to the opinions, values, and beliefs of others because they are not your opinions, values, and beliefs. Okay. So I also have here my malachite. And malachite is an extremely grounding stone. It's also very protective as well. And he's saying that grounding yourself and rooting yourself to the ground and to the earth, that this is a form of protection. Staying focused on what you want. He's saying if you're too open, you're also like too lofty, too in the clouds. So he's saying that you need to be earthed. You need to be earthed. You need to be grounded in what you know is right for you. He's saying this is the path. You know this is the path. He's saying, how do you know that? He's saying, well, by your past life memories. He's saying by your own feeling. And by your own strength that you have, by your own strength that you have, that makes you capable to feel out what is best for you. Okay. I don't know what's with channeling and water. Never drink as much water as I do when I'm channeling. Okay. We're doing your reading. He's saying that you have to be in a higher vibration to hear them, to hear your guides, and not give in to the opinions of others. He's saying that's true. But not an unsturdy in the clouds vibration. He's saying that there's a difference between floating and being on a high vibration. They're two different things. He's saying, so I can float and be on a low vibration. And he's saying, and he can, you can be on a high vibration and yet be very grounded. That is possible. And he's saying, and there again, it is about balance and acquiring both. Okay, so then I have my purple fluorite here. This is also a very grounding stone, and it's very good for cleansing your aura. So yeah, he's saying thoughts, feelings, beliefs of others. He's saying that that needs to be cleansed out. The other thing is this is very good for psychic protection. Same as with the malachite, really good for psychic protection. And again, he's saying grounding yourself firmly in what you want is setting a boundary, not just with other people, but it's setting a boundary with yourself that you're not going to bend. You won't let yourself bend in this one area. He's saying it's only one area. He's saying that it could end up causing a ripple effect that ends up targeting all areas or numerous areas. But he's saying, but you're starting off with one area. This is just one thing or a few things within one thing. He's saying it seems complicated, but it's still simple. So he's saying to remind yourself of what you want. And he's saying, and root yourself firmly, ground yourself firmly within what you want. He's saying that you've always held this feeling of what you want. You know what you would be the most passionate about. You know what would drive you. You know what would make you feel so complete. So he's saying, so do it. Just do it. He's saying that you don't have to make as many plans as you think. Not as many as you think. And it doesn't have to be as complex as you make it. He's saying even though there is a complexity to it, at the same time, it's what you were born to do. And you came here capable of succeeding. He's saying, why do you think we've given you all of these dreams? Why do you think we have made certain tools available to you? Why have you been given the choice in a very obvious, direct way? That's the approach that we're taking in this lifetime so that you can know through and through that it is right to do this. It isn't wrong. Because in past lives, he's saying people made you feel that it is wrong to do what you love if they object. And if they are a parent or an elder, then you're meant to be living your life to make them happy. He's saying, especially in certain societies, especially from certain programmings, parental programmings that come, he's saying, that come from certain lines or certain countries, he's saying. He's saying it really depends often on the culture that you were raised in. He's saying if you're living in a culture that is free and says everybody is an individual, go be what you want, son. I'll give you the tools, which he says doesn't really exist here. He says it can exist in individuals, individual parents, but rarely a culture here on earth. He's saying even with like a Native American culture, there's still going to be things where they say, no, don't do this, no, don't do that. But he's saying in a negative way. Not like you're only 3 years old, don't go bear hunting. So protection, he's saying. A parent is meant to set boundaries for protection. So there is a place where a parent says no. But he's saying, but not when it comes to their creative development. Not when it comes to what they want to do, what their soul aspires to do in this lifetime, what they yearn for. He's saying it's no different from someone saying you can't marry that person because he's saying for whatever reason. But you know that should be your choice because that's based off love, it's based off your heart. It isn't based off what they feel is best for you. When it comes to other things. So like don't marry this person, they're from a poor family or whatever it is. Yeah, he's saying like stupid reasons, not like this person is abusing you. Maybe you should not marry them, not like actual advice that you know what what's what's the word you're trying to say? Uh, that has merit, that like there's a reason for it, it makes sense to give that advice. But reasons like they're too poor, we don't like them, we don't like their family, or like, a Romeo and Juliet kind of thing. There's no logical reason. It's just we hate these people, so you can't be with this person. Or they're from a different culture than us. Some divided separation as the reason. So he's saying, with something like that, it's obvious it should be the child's choice. But he's saying, but it should be the same way with career and really any area of the person's life when they're an adult, which you are. He's saying that's when parents ease back and say, okay, I gave you the tools, use them. And you also have tools from your own self that I helped you, that I helped bring out of you, that I nurtured to grow. So now use them. And he's saying, and that's a parent's job. He's saying, protect the child and nurture its own soul to grow through its own creative development process. Not through your own, not through your conditioning from your own society that says you needed to be a certain way. From their own soul, their own soul's drive, their own soul's passion. And he's saying, and you know these things, but you have to stand up to it. And he's saying, and it is your choice. And it's all about choice. It is what you choose. And it's not their choice. So if you're choosing it for yourself, then it can't be about them. Especially, he's saying, since in other lifetimes you did this with other souls. You did this same type of thing. Sometimes with these souls, but other times with various other soul groups. Various other souls. So you have to question, what is within me? Why do I have this doubt that I place over myself of whether or not I can achieve being free, doing what I want, living by my own rules and my own way of thinking and feeling? Why does it have to be this way for me? Because other people are going out and they're doing what they want, despite what anybody else says to them, despite what anybody else thinks or what anybody else feels. And he's saying, and this isn't to say that you are less than them, or that those people are more than you, or that they have more of something. He's saying it has to do with how entrenched the programming is. But you can still remove it. You can still remove it. So there isn't a question of can you. He's saying that you have this question of can you. Whether subconsciously or consciously you are thinking, can I really do this? Is this something that's really possible for me? Can I really break through this cycle? Or should I meet these people halfway? Even if I live a little by my own desires, even if I go after what I want to an extent, I can meet them halfway in certain areas, especially this one. He's saying, but this is the one that he advises you not to give into. He's saying it's a suggestion. He's saying it's a strong suggestion, but it's your choice. It's still your choice. You can choose to lift the mask, or you can choose to abide by it. But whatever you do is your decision, and it's not theirs. It can't be placed in their hands. Because you know that you're not under them. Even if they conditioned you and programmed you to feel that you are underneath them, that you are under your parents, and even if your society supported that belief, and even if other children around you were taught that and they believed that too, you know within you that really isn't the truth. And he's saying there will be a breaking point. But he's saying that this is meant to be the breaking point. Because he's saying this isn't just about you saying, what do I want? And what I want is the most important. This is about what your soul wants. And stepping into your soul's path, your soul's growth. So he's saying, so spiritually, your soul's growth is more important. So he's saying this is not only about what you want, other than also like ultimately it is about what you want, but he's saying from another angle as well. It's about what you want, as in what your soul wants, and it wants its own growth. This is what will make your soul grow. The other will imprison your soul. It will trap your soul in these conditionings and these false ideas that your conscious mind, that your conscious awareness is choosing to fall prey to and choosing to allow. So he's saying if you have to move. Go somewhere where you don't have these influences. And he's saying maybe that's drastic, but he's saying at first he was saying, but it's a suggestion, but then he's saying that's not exactly what he means, though that's not the real suggestion. It is, if it has to be, but his point is, even if it's drastic, do whatever do whatever you can, do whatever you need to do whatever is required, do whatever is necessary to break this habitual cycle of operation, he's saying. This way. He's showing me a bicycle. It's like a cyclist. But he's not showing me a bicycle actually. He's showing me one of those, I don't know what they're called. I don't know if there's a difference in what they're called. We have one in our basement that's one of those, exercise bikes. It stays in one spot. It doesn't move forward. It doesn't move back either. It's just like he said, the past, all of it's the same. The past and the present and the future are all the same if you're staying in the same continuous cycle. So you're not really moving backwards, but you're not really moving forward either. He's saying you're just stuck. And he's saying some people get stuck in what they're comfortable with. Like he was saying before, they get stuck in heaven when they die. But he's saying here as well, there's almost a version of that. They get stuck in what they prefer, in a sense, not actually, but like what their thought forms prefer, as a way of gaining energy all the time. So he's saying, he's saying these thought forms are very comfortable. And he's saying, and they make you comfortable because if you don't have these patterns anymore, how are you going to feed them? How will you feed the beliefs and the identities that you have been holding on to and that you've been continuously feeding? He's saying, he's showing me a baby, and it's like they were babies and you kept feeding them, you kept giving them milk, and they grew. He's saying they grew into adulthood. He's saying past that, some of them are very old, very, very, very old. He's saying, yeah, he's saying again, that's just like he was saying, it has to do with how entrenched the programmings are, how entrenched the beliefs are. He's also saying we're not imposing anything on you. If you feel like it's too impossible, if you really feel like you are shut down from expressing this part of yourself, if you want a way out from this new way of thinking, he's saying, then continue doing the same thing. And they're not going to judge you. So he's saying this isn't a judgment. He's saying this is helpful advice. And he's saying, and it comes from a place of respect, knowing that you're able to do it. And if they, your guides, didn't think you were capable, there would be no reason to attempt to give you this advice or this outpouring of informations about your past lives either, or other psychic experiences that you have had, he's saying. And wake-up calls, triggers. He says you've had a lot of them. You've had a lot of triggers. He's showing me the cannon again. Like you've had a lot of guns go off. That's a loud sound. He's saying, how do you wake someone up when they're sleeping? You trigger them to wake up. He's showing me a blowhorn. You yell in their ear with a blowhorn, or you make a really, really loud sound. He's showing me like a horn next to a blowhorn, like one of those horns that you like squeeze and this loud noise comes out, and it's like in front of oh, not a horn, what am I saying? That's not a blowhorn. What am I, the thing you squeeze is like a blowhorn. This is oh my God, what is that called? One of those microphone things that you hold in your hand like this, and it's like a circle shape at the end, and you can like put it next to somebody's ear and yell at them. Okay. I should know what that's called, I guess. Why would I know what that's called? I've never even used one before, so it's not like I would ever have needed to know what that's called. But anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. Okay, but yeah, he's saying that's how you wake up somebody when they're sleeping. You make noise. And the longer they've been sleeping, or the more in a coma that they are, um, the more you have to trigger them to wake up in an obvious way. So step into the dream and do something to trigger them to wake up. He's saying even if somebody is in a very intense dream, if you yell at them loud enough and long enough, and if you increase the intensity, um, when it isn't working, if you're going to increase it to a point where it does work, where they do end up waking up. And he's saying, and transitioning from one dream to another in a sense, but still fully awake within that dream. So he's saying, so it's not that you are not dreaming now, because in a sense you are, but it is that you are more conscious within the dream. You are fully awake within the dream, or at least much more so than you were. And he's saying, and that's why they're saying it's about your soul's growth, because one will keep you dead asleep and in false programmings, and one will awaken you to a new dawn of unfolding possibilities where you don't know what's going to happen because you've never experienced it before. He's saying not in any lifetime. You've never experienced being as free as your soul would want to be in any lifetime. And he's saying you need to break out of this dream. You need to wake up. Oh, he's reminding me of Matrix, where he was showing Morpheus. That's why he put that in there. Saying this again. Sometimes you gotta just grab the bull by the horns, be like Nike, and just do it. And he's showing me the guns again. And he's saying that you have the big guns and you are protected. You have all the tools necessary. You're capable, you're able. whatever it is you think you need, you are strong enough, you are fast enough, you are intelligent enough, you are whatever enough to do what you came here for. Okay, and that is the message for this reading. Okay, so yeah, I had a feeling after I said that before. I wasn't sure if he was going to come up and say anything about himself. I thought maybe, but I wasn't sure. But he did talk a lot. And I think you probably did get a feel of his vibration, or that you are able to do that. Okay, he is reminding me of one last thing, though. He did show me you meditating and attempting to connect with him, to sort of gain a fearlessness, which he's saying is already within you. So it's just about calling it up. Yeah, he's saying, like a parent is supposed to do. They are supposed to nurture what's already within you. So he's saying fuel the fire, so to speak. Okay, so that is the end of this reading. So thank you very much, the mask you choose, for allowing me to do yet another reading for you, and I truly hope that this benefits you. Thank you very much. Namaste.